Predator changed the action and sci-fi landscape forever, with its thrilling story and iconic alien hunter first in 1987 and then with Predator 2 in 1990. But what about the actors who brought these unforgettable characters to life? Decades later, fans are curious, where are they now, and what have they been up to in 2025? From legendary stars to supporting cast members, some continued to shine on the big screen, while others took surprising paths away from Hollywood. In this video, we dive into the lives of the Predator cast, revealing the stories behind their careers, personal lives, and how time has shaped the heroes and villains we still remember today. Carl Weathers, born on January 14, 1948 in New Orleans, Louisiana, was 39 when he took on the role of Colonel Al Dillon in Predator 1987, a hardened ex-soldier turned CIA operative whose deceptive motives added a layer of moral ambiguity to the film. Dillon embodied betrayal cloaked in loyalty, and audiences felt both anger and admiration for his courage in the jungle's final stand. Yet Weathers' life was as dramatic as any script. Raised in a tough neighborhood, he endured ridicule for dreaming beyond sports, and was often forced to suppress feelings of inferiority. He climbed out of poverty through sheer discipline first as a professional football player, and then by storming into Hollywood with unmatched ambition. His career, however, was scarred by volatility. Behind the charm was a man accused of being overbearing and manipulative on set. His bitter fallout with Sylvester Stallone over creative control in the Rocky series nearly sabotaged his acting career, and his reputation for arrogance followed him into Predator, where some cast members quietly resented his ego. Failed business ventures, reckless investments, and whispers of tax problems haunted him, draining the millions he earned during his prime. His personal life was equally unsettled. 3 marriages ended in divorce custody battles, with ex-wives stained his public image, and reports of him distancing himself from family for the sake of his career painted a picture of loneliness. Despite recurring television roles and guest appearances, Weathers never regained the superstardom of Apollo Creed, and many insiders whispered he carried bitterness about it until the end. He lived his later years quietly in Los Angeles, rarely granting interviews a shadow of the bold figure he once was. On February 2, 2024, he died at age 76 from atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease in his sleep. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at $4 million, a modest fortune compared to the icons of his era. His legacy forever split between the glory of Creed, the duplicity of Dillon, and the turbulent reality of a man who could never quite escape his own contradictions. R.G. Armstrong, born April 7, 1917, in Pleasant Grove, Alabama, was already 70 when he appeared as General Phillips in Predator, 1987, a commanding yet shadowy figure who sent Dutch's team into the doomed jungle mission. Phillips, with his cryptic words and military gravitas, added a chilling sense of inevitability to the film's tone. Armstrong's childhood was steeped in hardship. His family was poor, and his deeply religious upbringing left him stifled, constantly judged by his mother's strict Baptist ideals. He was mocked for his Southern accent and quiet demeanor, and he learned to bury resentment beneath stoicism. Though Armstrong eventually studied drama at the University of North Carolina and made his way to Broadway, his career was far from glamorous. Hollywood branded him as a character actor, often typecasting him as zealots, fanatics, or grim patriarchs. He became a frequent collaborator of Sam Peckinpah, though their partnership was fraught with tension. Arguments over artistic control erupted on set, and Armstrong's uncompromising nature alienated directors who deemed him difficult. His greatest career failure came not in film, but on stage. A play he wrote collapsed after brutal reviews, leaving him humiliated and financially wrecked, forcing him to retreat back to supporting film roles. Despite professional respect, his personal life was scarred by 2 divorces and strained ties with his children. Colleagues spoke of his bouts of depression, his tendency to isolate himself, and a quiet bitterness that he never became a household name despite decades of work. In later years, he withdrew almost entirely from Hollywood publishing poetry that revealed his tormented inner world. Friends who visited him in Studio City described a man weighed down by regret, but unwilling to admit defeat. On July 27, 2012, Armstrong died of natural causes at the age of 95, his long life closing quietly without fanfare. His estate worth under $1 million reflected a steady but never spectacular career. Armstrong's legacy is that of a haunted craftsman, an actor who lent gravitas to every role, yet lived a life marked by invisible battles hidden behind the stern faces he so often portrayed. Sonny Landham, born February 11, 1941 in Canton, Georgia, was 46 when he portrayed Billy Soul in Predator 1987, the stoic Native American tracker, whose eerie silence and ritualistic death resonated deeply with fans. Billy's unwavering bravery made him a cult figure, but Landham's real life was a storm of scandal and chaos. Raised in a fractured household, he faced discrimination for his mixed Cherokee and Seminole heritage, often bullied by peers and forced to mask pain with defiance. His early adulthood spiraled into controversy when he entered the adult film industry, later posing for Playgirl, a past he tried desperately to bury once Hollywood came calling. His unpredictable temperament quickly earned him a reputation as one of the most difficult actors to work with. On the Predator set, producers allegedly hired a bodyguard not to protect him, but to protect others from his violent outbursts. Beyond acting, his failed attempts to transition into politics revealed even darker flaws. His campaign speeches turned into platforms for shocking racist rhetoric, culminating in calls for violence against Arabs, a scandal that permanently destroyed any political aspirations. His most crushing downfall was his criminal conviction for making threatening phone calls, landing him in federal prison. Though the conviction was overturned, the damage to his image was irreversible. His personal life was no less turbulent. 4 failed marriages, multiple children estranged from him, and endless court battles over alimony and support left him nearly destitute. Landham also struggled with gambling and alcoholism, each addiction stripping him of stability. By the end of his life, he was financially ruined with an estimated net worth under $500,000, a devastating fall for a man once celebrated on Hollywood's biggest stage. On August 17, 2017, he died in Lexington, Kentucky, at the age of 76 from congestive heart failure, largely forgotten by the industry that once embraced him. His legacy remains a paradox. Billy Soul, the fearless warrior who sacrificed himself with honor, played by an actor whose off-screen battles consumed him, leaving only scandal and regret behind. Kevin Peter Hall was born on May 9, 1955, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and took on the iconic role of the Predator in Predator 1987 at age 32, reprising it in Predator 2 1990 at age 35, where his immense 7.2 frame combined with precise physicality transformed the alien hunter into a terrifyingly majestic cinematic figure. Hall's childhood was riddled with challenges. Growing far taller than his peers brought both physical discomfort and social alienation, compounded by a father who struggled to maintain steady employment, and a mother burdened by illness, leaving Kevin to navigate emotional neglect, ridicule, and the constant necessity to mask vulnerability behind stoicism and humor. These early experiences forged a man capable of extraordinary discipline, yet he carried a quiet sadness that few ever saw. His career was a testament to physical and emotional endurance, spanning theater, television, and film, but often constrained by typecasting limiting opportunities beyond roles defined by stature. Behind the scenes, Hall was respected for his professionalism, patience, and gentle demeanor, earning affection from colleagues, yet he endured the subtle pressures of a Hollywood industry that valued him more for his size than his artistry. Personal life offered both solace and hidden strain. Married to Elena Reed Hall, he navigated the demands of his towering persona while seeking domestic stability. Tragedy struck when a blood transfusion following a car accident exposed him to HIV, ultimately leading to his death from AIDS-related pneumonia on April 10, 1991, at age 35 in Los Angeles. At the time, his net worth was approximately $300,000, derived from acting stunt work and residuals, leaving behind a legacy as one of cinema's most physically commanding performers, whose life off-screen was quietly heroic and poignantly fragile, revealing the human vulnerability beneath the monstrous facade that captivated audiences worldwide. Bill Paxton was born on May 17, 1955, in Fort Worth, Texas, and portrayed Detective Jerry Lambert in Predator II, 1990, at age 35, bringing fearless wit, audacious bravado, and irrepressible charm to a film that demanded both humor and tension in equal measure. Lambert's character served as a relatable human counterpoint to the otherworldly Predator, and Paxton's performance left an indelible mark on audiences for his quick humor, fearless presence, and natural charisma that balanced the urban jungle's lethal stakes. Paxton's formative years were turbulent. Growing up in a household plagued by parental divorce, financial insecurity, and social ridicule, he developed a resilient, adaptive personality. Learning early to mask vulnerability behind humor and charm traits that became hallmarks of his on-screen persona. His professional journey was punctuated by triumphs and setbacks. Though beloved for roles in Aliens, Twister, and Titanic, he often navigated the frustrations of typecasting and competitive casting environments, endured physical injuries from demanding shoots, and contended with occasional behind-the-scenes tension with directors or co-stars. Paxton's private life carried complexity as well. Married with children, he faced the pressures of balancing fame and family, with some legal disputes surrounding medical treatment after his death, highlighting the fragility of life behind Hollywood success. He died on February 25, 2017, at age 61 in Los Angeles, due to a stroke following complications from heart surgery. At the time, his net worth was estimated at $25 million, reflecting decades of versatile work in film and television residuals and production credits, leaving a legacy of enduring charisma, professionalism, and an ability to inject humor and heart into even the most perilous cinematic moments, making him a beloved figure whose off-screen depth mirrored the vitality he brought to every performance. Franco Columbu was born on August 7, 1941, in Ololai, Sardinia, Italy, and appeared as an uncredited medic in Predator 1987. At age 46, leveraging his enduring friendship with Arnold Schwarzenegger to appear briefly yet memorably on set, while off-camera his influence and presence loomed far larger than his minor role suggested. Columbu's upbringing in the remote Sardinian village was harsh poverty. A rigid agricultural lifestyle and limited access to formal education forced him to develop exceptional physical strength and mental toughness from childhood, as teasing and local rivalries instilled a relentless drive for excellence and personal resilience. His career path was unconventional and marked by both triumph and high-stakes risk. Two-time Mr. Olympia World's Strongest Man competitor, licensed chiropractor, actor, and author, he achieved international acclaim, but not without scars. including a dramatic leg dislocation that required surgery and earned a $1 million settlement, and episodes of public scrutiny that tested his composure and loyalty. Personal relationships were tightly interwoven with professional endeavors. Columbu remained fiercely loyal to close friends, especially Schwarzenegger, while maintaining a private family life shielded from scandal despite the temptations of celebrity. Though largely scandal-free, he cultivated a reputation for intensity, discipline, and occasional stubbornness that made him a formidable presence both on and off set. Franco Columbu passed away on August 30, 2019, at age 78 while swimming off Sardinia, due to a heart attack, leaving behind an estimated net worth of $10 million built from championship winnings, entrepreneurial pursuits, chiropractic practice, and acting, cementing a legacy as a titan of bodybuilding whose life was as dramatically sculpted as his physique-blending physical mastery, enduring friendship and personal fortitude into a narrative of extraordinary resilience. Morton Downey Jr. was born on December 9, 1932, in Los Angeles, California, and took on the role of Tony Pope in Predator II in 1990 at the age of 58, portraying a loud, brash, and sensationalist TV reporter whose insatiable thirst for ratings mirrored Downey's own controversial persona as a confrontational talk show host. Tony Pope's aggressive, attention-seeking behavior made him a memorable if polarizing figure within the film, embodying both the fascination and the repulsion audiences felt toward Downey in real life. Downey's childhood was riddled with instability and dysfunction, growing up in a household with a domineering mother and a largely absent father, instilling early feelings of neglect and a craving for approval that he channeled into his aggressive public demeanor. Professionally, Downey thrived on provocation, but often crossed boundaries, facing multiple suspensions, public feuds, and lawsuits stemming from verbal and alleged physical confrontations on air. He fabricated shocking hoaxes, most notably claiming an attack by neo-Nazis, which later discredited him in the eyes of many. His most consequential career collapse occurred when he suffered severe health crises, including the loss of a lung to cancer in 1996, which forced him to confront decades of chain-smoking and substance abuse, undermining his ability to maintain his prior level of influence. In his personal life, Downey navigated a series of volatile marriages, divorces, and estrangements from children often entangled with public drama that mirrored his on-screen sensationalism, creating a portrait of a man whose private chaos rivaled his professional flamboyance. Downey died on March 12, 2001, at the age of 68 from lung cancer in Los Angeles, leaving behind assets including personal memorabilia, residuals from television appearances, and a handful of properties with a net worth estimated at approximately $1 million, illustrating a career that burned fiercely, controversially, and ultimately left a legacy defined as much by scandal as by talent. Arnold Schwarzenegger was born on July 30, 1947, in Thal, Austria, and portrayed Major Alan Dutch Schaefer in Predator in 1987. At the age of 40, a stoic, strategic, and physically formidable leader whose blend of tactical acumen and raw strength made him an iconic figure in action cinema and a symbol of survival against overwhelming odds. Dutch's character resonated with audiences for his calculated heroism, unwavering focus, and the moral complexity he displayed in navigating life-and-death scenarios, establishing Schwarzenegger as a cultural touchstone for action heroes. Schwarzenegger's childhood was shaped by strict paternal discipline, modest circumstances, and a relentless pursuit of bodybuilding excellence, experiences that instilled a powerful drive to succeed, but also contributed to a relentless work ethic that often bordered on obsession and at times created personal tension. His career in Hollywood, though meteoric, included notable controversies, domineering behavior on set, intense contract negotiations, and later, a scandal involving a secret child from an extramarital affair that led to a highly publicized divorce from Maria Shriver, alongside public scrutiny of his political decisions during his tenure as governor of California. Schwarzenegger has navigated multiple high-profile relationships, familial complexities, and periods of public criticism, balancing personal indiscretions with strategic career moves and philanthropy. At 78 years old, he remains active in public life and business, with a current net worth estimated between $450 to $750 million, derived from acting commercial endorsements, real estate investments, and political ventures, maintaining his status as one of the most influential figures in entertainment and public service. While his life story continues to blend triumph, scandal, and calculated reinvention in ways that mirror the dramatic arcs of the characters he has portrayed. Calvin Lockhart was born on October 18, 1934, in Nassau, Bahamas, and portrayed King Willie in Predator II in 1990. At the age of 56, a mystical, commanding, and charismatic leader of a Jamaican gang whose aura of authority and spiritual depth made him one of the film's most unforgettable figures. King Willie exuded fearlessness, wit, and a compelling enigma that both intimidated and fascinated audiences, delivering memorable lines and embodying a cultural weight that elevated the narrative beyond typical action fare. Lockhart's early years were challenging, marked by financial hardship and social marginalization in a post-colonial Bahamas that demanded resilience, adaptability, and self-reliance, qualities that would later inform his commanding presence on screen. While his career soared in the 1970s with roles in Cotton Comes to Harlem and Let's Do It Again, he faced gradual marginalization and typecasting in Hollywood, with offers dwindling as he aged, creating frustration and professional stagnation that contrasted sharply with his early acclaim. Off-screen, Lockhart cultivated a reputation for discipline and principle, engaging in community activism and anti-drug campaigns, though whispers among colleagues suggested occasional clashes with producers and co-stars due to his uncompromising vision and insistence on precision in performance. His personal life included quiet struggles with health issues, the loss of friends, and a reserved private demeanor that contrasted with the fiery intensity of his on-screen persona, leading to periods of solitude and reflection. Lockhart passed away on March 29, 2007, at the age of 72, from complications related to a stroke, leaving an estate comprised of modest real estate holdings, residuals, and personal collections, with a net worth estimated under $1 million, reflecting a life of talent, dignity, and understated influence that persisted despite fading public recognition. Elpidia Carrillo was born on August 16, 1961, in Paracuaro, Michoacán, Mexico, and took on the role of Ana Gonçalves in Predator 1987 at the age of 26, portraying the lone female survivor whose resilience, intelligence, and emotional grounding contrasted sharply with the hypermasculine commando squad. Anna's character became an anchor in a narrative dominated by testosterone-fueled heroics, and her courage and adaptability resonated deeply with audiences, earning her a place as one of the franchise's most memorable figures. Carrillo's early life was rife with hardship. Her father was brutally murdered when she was just 3 years old, and her brother was later gunned down, forcing her into early labor and demanding responsibilities that shaped her steely independence. These tragedies instilled a deep emotional reserve, making her highly observant and sensitive qualities that she channeled into her performances. Her career trajectory, while impressive, was far from smooth. After early acclaim in Mexican cinema, Carrillo faced language barriers, typecasting, and intense competition in Hollywood, navigating a minefield of small roles, brief stints in television, and occasional exploitation attempts in an industry notorious for preying on young actresses. Despite these challenges, she maintained a reputation for professionalism and artistic integrity, shunning the celebrity gossip circuit and carefully curating her public persona. Her personal life has remained discreet. She endured the strains of balancing family responsibilities with demanding shoots, yet largely avoided the scandals that engulf many of her peers. Today, Carrillo is 63 years old, continuing to act selectively while mentoring emerging talent in Mexico and the United States. Her net worth is estimated at $5 million, including earnings from decades of acting residuals from cult classics like Predator, and smart investments in real estate, allowing her to sustain a life of relative independence and influence in the cinematic world. Jesse Ventura was born July 15, 1951, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and at age 36, he portrayed Blaine Cooper in Predator. 1987, the explosive minigun-wielding soldier whose bravado, fearlessness, and signature lines like "I ain't got time to bleed" cemented him as an indelible pop culture icon. Blaine's character was loud, unapologetic, and physically dominant, reflecting Ventura's real-life persona as a Navy SEAL professional wrestler and unorthodox political figure, blending cinematic exaggeration with authentic toughness. Ventura's childhood was marked by a turbulent home environment, frequent clashes with authority, and early exposure to the rigors of survival, shaping his combative spirit and irreverent outlook. His career has been unconventional, navigating the extremes of professional wrestling, acting, and political life, including his tenure as governor of Minnesota, which was fraught with controversies, public feuds, and conspiracy-laden rhetoric that polarized constituents and media alike. Ventura's personal life mirrored his public intensity, with marriages and relationships marked by tension, abrupt endings, and occasional estrangement from family members, contributing to a larger-than-life, often controversial persona. Despite these storms, Ventura cultivated considerable influence and wealth, leveraging his multiple careers to establish a net worth estimated at $6 million accumulated through wrestling, acting, political endeavors, endorsements, and writing. At 74 years old, he remains an outspoken, provocative figure, continuing to engage in media commentary, authoring books, and participating in public debates, solidifying his legacy as one of the most audacious, unpredictable, and enduring personalities associated with the Predator franchise, whose life story reads as both a testament to relentless self-reinvention and a chronicle of calculated defiance against convention. Bill Duke, born February 26, 1943, in Poughkeepsie, New York, joined Predator 1987 at age 44 as Mac Elliott, the stoic and commanding commando whose quiet intensity and moral complexity gave the film its emotional backbone. Mac was a man of discipline, loyalty, and internal struggle, deeply affected by the death of his comrades and the ethical weight of their mission, characteristics that resonated with audiences and elevated him from supporting role to memorable presence. Duke's early years were shaped by socioeconomic hardship, and growing up in a working-class family instilled in him a relentless work ethic and a drive to succeed in a racially and culturally biased entertainment industry. His career was a tapestry of triumphs and challenges. He earned respect for his acting, directing, and producing, yet faced occasional clashes with studios over creative decisions, typecasting in roles that emphasized physicality over nuance and periods of professional uncertainty. He cultivated a reputation for rigorous discipline and mentorship, guiding younger actors while maintaining his own artistic integrity. Off-screen, Duke has remained scandal-free, though he has never shied away from addressing racial inequities and systemic injustice within Hollywood, often using his voice to challenge stereotypes and advocate for authenticity in African-American storytelling. At 82 years old, he continues to act direct and influence cinema with a net worth estimated at $3 million accumulated from decades of work across film, television, and directorial projects. His personal life reflects a careful balance of stability and engagement with meaningful creative work, and his legacy is defined not only by his formidable on-screen presence, but also by his pioneering contributions to African-American representation in mainstream cinema. Shane Black was born on December 16, 1961, and portrayed Rick Hawkins in Predator in 1987 at age 26. Hawkins is the film's wisecracking radio voice, the comic relief whisper that keeps the tension human, and Black, the man who embodied him, would go on to become Hollywood's wry architect of buddy action, a screenwriter who turned cynical sparkle into career currency. But the charm masks a career full of jagged edges, raised in working-class surroundings, cutting his teeth as an actor and writer in a business that rewards one brilliant sale with years of negotiation. Black's childhood and early ambitions were honed by scarcity, the itch to sell a screenplay and never to be dependent again. His highs are famous, selling Lethal Weapon and other scripts that rewired the action movie, and his faults are public. The most serious recent controversy erupted with his return to the Predator franchise in 2018, when a small, unauditioned part he hired a longtime friend who was a registered sex offender was exposed, sparking Olivia Munn's fight to remove the scene, a studio cut, and public apology. It was a rare instance where personal loyalty, casting choices, and the industry's blind spots collided in a way that left reputational scorch marks. Professionally, he's known for sharp dialogue and lucrative script deals. Some outlets estimate his net worth in the mid-tens of millions, while others put it higher. But the biography also contains the quiet disasters scripts that sold for big money, and then turned to rancid studio politics projects that gutted after reshoots, and the steady pressure of being the bankable writer who must continually top his own past. His personal life, while not tabloid-saturated, isn't free of strain. The grind of deals, rewrites, and director-producer battles has meant long stretches away from normalcy and the brittle relationships that accompany celebrity. Today, at 63, he remains an influential but polarizing figure, still working in film and commanding sizable industry compensation and residuals that translate into a substantial, though variably reported, net worth. Richard Chavez was born on October 9, 1951, and portrayed Jorge Poncho Ramirez in Predator in 1987 at age 36. Poncho reads on screen like the practical backbone of a squad that's constantly one step from unraveling quiet, skilled, with explosives, the kind of man who shoulders other people's danger so they don't have to. That authenticity came from a life that wasn't polished, for showbiz. Chavez is a Vietnam veteran who turned real frontline experience into theater. He co-wrote and performed in the raw ensemble Vietnam play Tracers, and then into character work that demanded grit rather than glamour. His childhood and climb weren't Hollywood fairy tales. Born into a family with military ties and raised to answer to hardship and discipline, he learned early to hide shock and fatigue beneath a steady face. Those shut-down instincts became fuel for the laconic toughness of Poncho. The arc of his career is studded with small triumphs and institutional slams, TV guest spots, stage credibility, then a boost from Predator and War of the Worlds, but also the hollowing blow of creative decisions beyond his control. When War of the Worlds was retooled, he and other popular characters were written out as a business decision, a blunt reminder that talent rarely inoculates you from executive pruning. At 73, there are no lurid tabloids attached to his name, only the quieter wounds actors know well. Roles lost to format changes the slow burn of being a character actor instead of a headline star and the pressure of sustaining a living from sporadic gigs. Today he remains a working veteran actor, still performing and appearing at conventions while living a comparatively modest life, off residuals and stage work. There's no authoritative public ledger of mansions or stock portfolios. Most reliable accounts frame his estate as modest, with online estimates scattered in the low millions or below, rather than anything resembling blockbuster wealth. And his public image endures as the scarred, dependable voice behind Poncho, rather than the kind of scandal that would eclipse the work. Thank you for joining us on this nostalgic journey through classic television history. If you enjoyed learning about the cast of Predator and where they are now, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more vintage Hollywood retrospectives, and share your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing your memories and suggestions, so let us know which TV show or movie cast you'd like us to feature next.